tonight we're talking about yoga and mindfulness with Ingrid Exner. Thank you for joining us. I'm
Thank
Shauna
you, Shauna.
Bodway, Director of Programs and Information at Hydrocephalus Canada, and your moderator for today's session. With me is Andrea Walters in the background. She is the Community Connections Coordinator for Hydrocephalus Canada and co-moderator and technical assistant for today's webinar.
My name is Ingrid Exner, and I'm a certified yoga teacher. But most importantly, from my opinion, for me, I'm a hydrocephalus warrior. I've been dealing with hydrocephalus since I had a brain tumor removed at 1.5 years of age. At 12, I was introduced to yoga by my family doctor as a way to deal with anxiety and body issues. As I don't know how many of you experience this, but as a person with hydrocephalus, my weight fluctuated quite a bit. And it fluctuated especially when my shunt was either broken or in the process of breaking. So, and of course, I also had to deal with anxiety and possible depression. So my family doctor, out of the kindness of his heart, and given the fact that he was East Indian and a yoga practitioner himself, he suggested that I look into yoga. And he actually shared with me a few of the movements, or what they call asanas. So that was my beginning into the world of yoga. And I've been practicing yoga since the age of 12, and I've been practicing at home and in studio. But throughout that time, even though I went into the studio, I felt very self-conscious. I felt self-conscious because I didn't look like a typical person who did yoga. And as a result of the hydrocephalus, I'm going to be blaming it on the hydrocephalus, but I didn't seem as coordinated as the other people. And that, of course, made me even more self-conscious. So what I decided to do, I had it in mind from the time that I was 16. I knew that I was going to become certified as a yoga teacher, and I wanted to help people who were dealing with similar challenges as myself. So hence, I got into chair yoga, special needs yoga, yoga nidra, which is yogic sleep, but with that practice also helps people with anxiety, depression, and distractibility. So in terms of the goals and aims for today's workshop, I just want to share some basic information about breathwork, body scanning, mindfulness, and yoga. And I want to mention all these things in a very trauma-sensitive way. Again, as a person with hydrocephalus, I had a brain tumor which resulted in my hydrocephalus, and both of those conditions can cause trauma. And living through the past 2 years, our COVID experience, that has caused trauma, and it's affected the way that we're coping with things and the way we feel. So a trauma-sensitive person or a trauma-sensitive teacher teaches asanas that reduce trauma, reduce anxiety even more than the average person, and is cognizant of doing any asana or movement that might trigger further anxiety. So please enjoy today. Take part in both the discussion as well as some of the asana work. However, I would like to point and make this one particular point. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm not a doctor. Andrea and Shauna are not doctors. So we are providing instruction, but we are not you. It's very important when you practice any type of movement, whether it be yoga or a different form of exercise, it's very important to know your limits, know your limitations, know how you're feeling at any given moment, and also to be able to recognize your pain. Yoga should not be a painful experience at all. If you are experiencing stress, like stressed muscles, or if you feel overworked, stop what you're doing, please.
That's perfect, Ingrid. And just to add to that, I would just like to say that the exercises being illustrated today do not constitute medical or healthy living advice for any individual, as specific cases may vary. If there is an exercise, like Ingrid mentioned, that puts strain on your person or you feel extreme pain while doing the activity, please stop immediately and do not continue with the exercise. In the event that this occurs, Hydrocephalus Canada and Ms. Exner strongly recommend consulting with a qualified medical or other professional before continuing further with any of the yoga exercises demonstrated in this webinar. Okay, so I am going to let Ingrid
Yes.
take control here, and I will see you shortly when we start doing exercises.
Oh,
Enjoy.
now, will someone be moving the screens, or how do I move the screens? This presentation is entitled Yoga and Mindfulness Information Center. Info session. However, we will be talking about breath work as well, because breath work really is the foundation. You move from breath work to body scanning to mindfulness, and then feeding into yoga. We all breathe. We all do breath work every day, but do we really understand it? What is it, and why do we do it? Breath work, as defined by me, are exercises to increase our breathing capacity, our concentration, our performance, and our mood. What affects our breathing? Well, trauma can affect our breathing, and trauma includes sickness, chronic or acute illness, operations, COVID, and the stress that went along with COVID, and any emotions, whether they're positive or negative, so anger, excitement, happiness. All of these things can affect your breathing, and it can make you hold your breath, quicken your breath, or make your breath shallow. The benefits of doing a breathwork practice are numerous. Breathing exercises can help us to increase our breathing, our energy, our vitality, and alertness. And I don't know about you, but I need to encourage the alertness in my life, the focus, and the concentration. Better breathing can also reduce stress, improve mood, and reduce depression symptoms. Because when we breathe and when we focus on proper breath work and proper inhalation and exhalation, we're giving our body the oxygen that it needs. And when our body gets the oxygen that it needs, it's in a balanced state. Okay, our breath is also grounding and leads us to greater self-awareness and compassion. When we breathe and we begin to focus on what our body does exactly as we breathe, we suddenly begin to realize, oh, our body is functioning in so many beautiful ways, and it's bringing in all this nourishing air and oxygen. And it's making us feel more alive, more energetic, more vitalized, happier, excited, and engaged. Now, there are a number of different breathing exercises. Now, I just want you to take a moment and think about how breathing affects you. How can breathing and breathing exercises affect you? How are you breathing? Now, I want you to take both of your hands, and I see Shauna and Andrea are on screen, so they're showing us as well. Take your hands and place one below the belly button area and one above. And the reason why we're doing this is breathing actually takes place in 3 different parts of our body. And this is called 3-part breath, and it will allow us to become aware of how we're breathing and if we're breathing in all 3 parts. So I just want you to take an inhalation through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Now take your hands and move them up a bit more. So one hand is above your belly button again, and one hand is just between your ribs, so below the rib cage. And then inhale again and exhale. Are you noticing how you're feeling and how the air is moving through your body? Now take those same hands and place one hand at your chest level, just by the breastbone. Or sorry, take the one hand and place it above the rib cage. So it's just above the rib cage. And then the other hand at your chest level. So by the breastbone. And again, inhale. And exhale. And release your hands. Now, that was called the 3-part breath. Did you notice that you were breathing in 3 different areas? Did you notice that as you inhaled, your belly expanded outwards? And as you exhaled, the belly moved back to the spine. Did you also notice that your lower chest, so your rib cage, expanded on inhalation and then contracted on exhalation? And then finally, when we had our hands placed at our upper chest and above the rib cage, did you feel the ribs move again, the chest rise, and also your shoulders move back? The art of breathing can be very complex, and I just wanted to do the 3-part breath to increase your awareness and make you aware of where exactly you are breathing. Shauna and Andrea, did you find that you were breathing in all 3 areas?
I found that I breathe up here and down around the rib cage more than in the abdomen.
Yes. And when I started, actually, even when I was doing yoga itself, and I was untrained, but I was going to yoga classes, I found that as a hydrocephalus survivor and a brain tumor survivor, I was still taking shallow breaths. It actually wasn't until after or during my yoga teacher training that it was pointed out that I was a reverse breather. So, and I was also a shallow breather. So when I was inhaling, my stomach didn't really move out. And the thing is that for people who've experienced stress or anxiety, that negative emotion affects their breath. So they might be shallow breathers. And that's okay, but in order to breathe optimally, we want to expand that breath. Breath is a gift. Breath is, you exposing yourself to the world and opening up and inhaling nourishment. So that 3-part breath was just a nice exercise for us to look at breath and look at, are we breathing correctly? Are we a shallow or deep breather? Are we a reverse breather? Now, there's a few other breathing exercises that we won't do today, but I just want to highlight them because other people might have attended some yoga classes. They might have done the alternate nostril breathing, where you're breathing through both nostrils and closing one, breathing through the other, and vice versa. So might have done the alternate nostril breathing, which creates clarity, calm, and reduces agitation and stress. The 3-part breath that we did increases calm and increases breath capacity, which is important. And lastly, there's a breath called Shitali breath, which is actually a cooling breath. And for people who are dealing with anxiety or anger, that's a really lovely breath to do. And I did that as a child. It's where you're actually opening your mouth, you're rolling your tongue, and you're breathing through your tongue like a straw. I'm not going to go into that today. Today was just the 3-part breath. But again, the purpose of talking about breath work was to identify whether you're a shallow or deep breather, whether you're a quote unquote proper breather or a reverse breather. Because of course, breath work is essential to our emotional health and our physical health. So being aware of breath and following your breath can also feed into mindfulness, as we can use our breath to ground ourselves and anchor ourselves to the present moment. And I'm just going to read the little quotation by Thich Nhat Hanh. Feelings come and go like clouds in the sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. Body scanning, what is it and why do we do it? Body scanning, just like breath work, can be an anchor. When we grow in awareness of our body, it brings us into the here and now. And it allows us to become mindful. So the definition of body scanning is drawing our awareness to different parts of our body. For example, I don't know how many of you in the audience today have attended a yoga class, but many yoga classes will begin by drawing your attention to your body. They might talk about relaxing your forehead, releasing your cheeks, releasing your jaw, relaxing your shoulders, releasing your arms. That is both a body scan, because it's making you aware of your body in the present moment, as well as a mindfulness exercise. Now, the benefits of doing a body scan are numerous. We increase awareness and appreciation, that's a hard word, appreciation of self and body. When we bring our attention into ourselves, we become aware of how we're feeling at the present moment. And please take note of this. For people who are dealing with chronic pain or transitioning pain or a chronic illness where it's important for you to monitor your pain level, body scanning is essential. It can mean the difference between, being aware of your body and getting medical treatment right away versus maybe getting it a few days later or a week later. So when we bring ourselves into our body, we're not changing our body. We're just becoming aware in a non-judgmental way of how our body is feeling at this particular moment in time. So we're not trying to change anything when we're doing a body scan. We're just checking in to our body. We're just checking in to feel how our body feels at that particular day. So again, the benefits of body scanning are numerous. Increased awareness and appreciation of self and body, authentic feelings, and or awareness of pain. And this is very important for anyone who is dealing with emotional, mental health issues, or physical issues. I don't know about you, but I don't normally get headaches associated with my hydrocephalus unless my shunt is broken. And it is essential for me to know if my shunt is broken, because as a result of having hydrocephalus for many, many years, I have a very high pain tolerance. So I do body scans every day. For me, it's like brushing my teeth. Sometimes I do a body scan by itself, not in association with yoga. And other times I'll do a body scan before my yoga. But it's essential to do a body scan for anyone who, again, has a chronic illness, or for those who are frequently having changing health issues. It's also very beneficial for people who are disassociated from their body or have some sort of disassociation issue as a result, or meaning they're cut off from their body, or they feel a bit spacey or lightheaded or far away. And this can be caused by operations, anxiety, stress, or even post-traumatic stress. So body awareness is mindfulness of the body. Traumas, and this is something to please bear in mind, because while many of us have hydrocephalus, me included, we've all been through different operations, different level of operations, and we are dealing with different levels of trauma. And as I said at the beginning of this workshop, I approach yoga in a very trauma-sensitive way. So I look at asana work, movement work, in terms of how will this movement affect someone with trauma? Will it make them feel safe? And for people who have been through trauma, sometimes they don't necessarily want to focus in on their breath. As I had previously said, some people who've experienced trauma are shallow breathers. So they might not be breathing from their upper chest. They might not be breathing from their rib cage. They might just be breathing very shallowly from their stomach. So if focusing on your breath, or even focusing in on your body, causes you some anxiety, then I suggest you maybe choose anchors. And again, body and breath are anchors because they make us realize what's happening in the here and now. If focusing in on your body and doing a body scan causes any anxiety or trauma at all, please look for another anchor that will bring you into the here and now. So another anchor could be a candle. Another anchor, some people find white noise, or maybe the buzz of the overhead lights, to be a safer anchor for them. As I said, we use our body and our breath as anchors. And when we use these anchors hold us into the here and now. You can consider them almost like physical anchors. You can consider us a ship. And in order to stay in one place, we need to drop our anchors. So we need our body, we need our breath, we might need a candle, or we need to focus in on the sound of the overhead lights, maybe our heartbeat, anything that will bring you into the here and now. Now, what is mindfulness and why do we do it? How many people sometimes feel overwhelmed or confused? How many people have lost their keys, locked themselves out of the car or house, or been called absent-minded? I know I have. How many people put things down and then walk away and wonder where that object went, or if you had dropped the object or moved the object in that split second? How many would like to learn a way of being more present and aware? That is mindfulness. Mindfulness makes you here, present, awake, and aware. And again, we can become awake and aware to this moment in time through our body and our breath. And these are traditional anchors because our breath has been with us since we were born. So from birth to death, our breath never stops. It might slow down, but it never stops fully. So in that way, it's a very consecutive anchor. And likewise, body awareness. We always move with our body. So our body is always with us. And doing more body scans, again, leads to greater self-acceptance and compassion for your body. Because suddenly you become aware of the ability of the body, the wonder of the body, the very fact that this body of yours has been with you through, it could be one operation, two operations, 10 or 20. I know, other people with hydrocephalus might have 2 or 3 operations. I've had a total of 15, but I know there are other people who've had upwards of 25, 30, 100 operations. I personally love body scans because I come into this knowledge of my body and everything that it has been through and everything it has supported me through. And that is the gift of mindfulness. So these traditional forms of mindfulness practice, focusing on the breath and the body scanning, help us to ground, center, focus, and calm the mind. When you feel scattered, always return to your breath. As I said, the breath is always with you. And if we step away from our breath, sometimes we control our breath by negative emotions. If we just get out of the way of our breath, the body breathes itself and it regulates itself. It calms us and it grounds us. So always return to your breath. And this is very important for children, adults, and anyone with ADHD, TBIs, or brain injury. Because anyone who's experienced a brain injury, and as a person who's had a brain tumor, the process of removing a brain tumor causes a TBI. And as a result of a TBI, people might be dealing with anxiety, depression, maybe some feelings of helplessness, brain fog. If you are experiencing any one of these things, mindfulness will help to bring you into the present and to become more awake and aware. In terms of other mindfulness practices, we can do mindful eating. Mindful eating means you become aware of what you're eating. So you don't just automatically, you're not on autopilot as you're bringing the food into your mouth. When you approach eating in a mindful way and being awake and aware of the moment, you suddenly realize what you're eating, how it feels against your teeth, what colors of foods are on your plate, and it suddenly becomes a much more enjoyable experience. Likewise, you can do mindful walking or even mindful rolling, because if you are in a wheelchair, you can practice mindfulness going down a path. You can feel the wheels against the path itself. You can feel the reverberation of your hands against the wheels that are against the gravel path. You can do mindful walking, mindful cleaning, mindful dishes, mindful doing of dishes, mindful petting of dogs. And in terms of children, they too can gain further body appreciation and breath work through mindfulness. They can practice mindfulness and become mindful of their speech and how their speech affects others. They can do mindfulness in terms of loving kindness. They can also practice mindfulness in terms of speaking, as can adults. So you can have greater appreciation of your speech as well as the speech of others. So you're aware of what you're saying and you're waiting in response to the other person. Lastly, for children as well as teens and even those in university, you can practice mindfulness in terms of using technology. As Shauna pointed out, we sometimes have little blips and technological issues, and it's very easy to get angered and to have that anger escalate, because quite oftentimes there are mistakes in PowerPoint presentations, there are power outages, there are things that are out of our control when it comes to technology. So it's important to just focus in on your breath. If you're feeling overwhelmed at all, focus back in on your breath. Remember, this too shall pass. And usually dealing with technology, it passes very quickly. So I just have a little question. This is sort of a rhetorical question and something for you to think about. What other forms of mindfulness can you think about? How would learning mindfulness affect or improve your life? Don't answer. Take a while to think about this. Maybe write it down. I guarantee that there are at least 5 ways that mindfulness could improve your life. And I just have a little quotation at the bottom. Mindfulness isn't difficult. In fact, it isn't, because, as I pointed out, we have 2 anchors with us all the time. We have our body and our breath. So it's just a matter of becoming aware of our body, aware of our breath. So back to the quotation by Sharon Salzberg. Mindfulness isn't difficult. We just need to remember to do it. What is yoga and why learn it? Yoga is the joining of body, mind, spirit, and God. It doesn't always have to be a religious practice. So please bear in mind that if you are non-religious, that's fine. Please feel free to substitute God with higher power or your best self. So yoga is the joining of body, mind, spirit, and it could be your best self. It could be your higher self. Now, yoga is a very, very old practice. It's 2,000 years and counting. So it's tried, it's true, it's been tested. Now, there are many forms of yoga, but there are sort of two main schools. There's the Hatha branch, which includes gentle yoga and hot yoga and Iyengar yoga, and basically every type of yoga that's offered at a yoga studio. That falls under the umbrella of Hatha yoga or movement. And then there's meditation itself. Now, I practice Hatha yoga, but gentle Hatha yoga. Now, in yoga, yoga focuses in on breath work, pranayama. So that's a Vedic term, pranayama, but pranayama is just breath work. So it's the breathing aspect of yoga. And just that one aspect of yoga, the breathing aspect of yoga, has proven to improve breath capacity, retention, improve mood and concentration, and even have positive effects on the aging process. So yay, all is good. Pranayama and yoga practice is encouraged for anyone with distractibility issues, anyone, for example, with ADHD, anxiety, depression, brain tumors, mood disorders, and again, depression. I don't know if I mentioned that one. And numerous studies have even proven the reduction of all of these symptoms. Now, the benefits of the movements themselves, or the asanas, are many as well. This physical aspect of yoga bridges breath with the physical practice of moving through postures called asanas. Asana work has been proven to reduce stress, improve mood, improve mental clarity. So again, I think I mentioned that doing these postures and poses actually help to reduce brain fog. And breathing practices also help to reduce brain fog. So it improves mood, improves mental clarity, and improves the range of motion. So if you can breathe, you can do yoga. Yoga is not about self-empowerment, but self-acceptance. And the meaning behind that quotation is that when you practice yoga, the pranayama, the breathing aspect of it, as well as the movement, you become aware of what you can do and what you can't, and your potential. So it really is about self-awareness. It might be self-empowering, but for the most part, it increases your self-awareness and your acceptance of yourself. What is chair yoga? Benefits, examples, and exercises. Hi, Shauna and Andrea. Welcome back. Chair yoga is yoga done in a chair or a wheelchair. Now, most asanas, so most postures and most movements, actually can be easily adapted to a chair. Whether you do breathing exercises, simple arm movements, forward folds, or even the more complex asanas such as the warrior poses, warrior 1, 2, and 3. All of these things can be done in a chair. Now, if you're dealing with paralysis, that might affect your lower extremes in terms of how you bend or twist or move your legs. However, you can always do the upper body work of the warrior poses. So in that case, you're still practicing the balance. You're still getting the benefit of the empowering pose. So again, back to my statement that by and large, anything that can be done in a yoga studio and any asana can be modified and easily done in a chair, whether it be a chair that you're just sitting in at a table with your feet flat on the ground or in a wheelchair. So the benefits of chair yoga are that it can improve flexibility, coordination, and strength. As I mentioned, in chair yoga, we can do a lot of upper body work, so that builds strength. In terms of poses, like warrior 1, 2, and 3, you're moving your arms, you're holding them in various different, at different angles. Some of them are completely aligned. So you're working that balance aspect of things. And also you're working on your coordination. Now, Shauna and Andrea, we're going to do a few examples and exercises. Now, let me just move my screen a little bit more here. I just moved farther away so that if I'm moving my arms, I don't start knocking furniture and and throwing lamps. I think I actually did that on the one video. And of course, you know, when you're lifting your arms fairly quickly up and out and you hit a picture frame or you knock a frame even off the wall, even though the frame is only a pound, it really hurts. So might I suggest to everybody out there that if you're around something, if you're around a table where there are objects sitting, try to move. We're not seeing you at this point. And if you're choosing to do these exercises, all these exercises are optional. So you can just watch Andrea and Shauna. But if you are trying to do this yourself, please, please, please be safe. Sit up tall in your chair. If you can, ground yourself through your feet. If you can just control and move your body from the waist up, please always sit tall so that the energy is flowing through you very, very well. Have your shoulders rolled back. So essentially, this is a Tadasana pose. This is a mountain pose. This is a powerful pose, and your heart is open. So I never want to, and I don't want to accidentally encourage people to do poses where they're crumpled up. When you're crumpled up, you will only create that worse pain. So please open your chest, have your shoulders back, and immediately you'll notice you're breathing better. You're feeling better. You feel more powerful. So the first exercise that I would like to do is eye yoga. Please take your right hand, bring it up to eye level with thumb pointed upwards. And what we're going to do, so just hear these instructions. What we're going to do is we're going to inhale and then gently move the arm out as we're inhaling. And then exhale it back. And you can exhale either through the nose or mouth. Okay, let's try that again. And whenever you're doing any of these exercises, it's fine to inhale and exhale however you want. I just want to make sure that people are inhaling and exhaling with the movement. So thumb up, inhale gently. And exhale it back. And you're always keeping eye on that thumb. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. Let's bring our other hand up, our other arm. Our thumb is pointed. And as we inhale and move the arm, we'll be keeping track visually of our thumb without moving our head. And do it as you inhale. And exhale back. Now, Andrea did it very quickly. Now, we all inhale and exhale at different rates. We want to make sure that we are moving with our breath and that we're moving in a nourishing way. So some people are very rapid breathers and they might go, and that's fine if that's where you are right now. However, as we inhale, picture your body and particularly your stomach like a balloon. So as you inhale, the belly button is, or rather the belly is opening out like a balloon and it's filling with air. And then as you exhale, the belly is moving back towards the spine. So the wonderful mechanics of the body have you doing all of that as you're watching the tip of your thumb, you're moving your arm, and you're moving it back. Okay, now shoulder rolls. Again, moving with your breath, do it at your own pace. Inhale your shoulders up and exhale down. And do this in a nourishing way. Let this feel almost like a neck massage. Inhaling up and exhaling back. And last one, inhale up and exhale back. And still seated in Tadasana, I'm just going to move my shoulders out. Again, with this one, we're going to move our bend at the elbow and bring our arms up. And as we inhale, roll back like you're rowing a boat and exhale down. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And one last one. Inhale and exhale. Now bring your arms back up and you're in a T position. And again, please make sure that you're not hitting a table. Make sure there's room around you. And we're just going to start with small circles. Inhaling and then exhaling. Inhale and exhale. And if you want to speed this up, you're more than welcome. Again, it's all about how you breathe. Are you breathing slower? Are you expanding the stomach slower? Or is your breath rapid? You know, my pace might be too slow for people. But again, right now, I want to emphasize that we breathe with our movement. Now let's just change direction. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. And last one, inhaling up and exhaling down. Okay, and returning back to our static position, our rolling the shoulders back, being in our Tadasana or seated mountain posture. We'll just move into very gentle side extension. And then our last asana will be a forward fold. So again, if you're seated in a chair, make sure that your knees are bent at a 90-degree angle, anchoring you to the ground. If you're in a wheelchair, again, please make sure that you're sitting up tall and strong. We want to start from a tall and strong position. And on the inhale, I'll just explain this once, and then I'll say, Andrea and Shauna, jump in. So we're in a very tall seated Tadasana position. We inhale the arm up and bend slightly to the side. And then we exhale it down. And then we repeat on the other side, inhaling arm up and bending. Then exhale it down. So let's do 3 more of those as complete sets. So I started going that way. I might be doing a different direction than you, but that's fine. Do it at your own pace. As long as you inhale as the arm goes up and exhale as the arm goes down. Inhale, arm up. And exhale it down. And the arm gently floats down and it floats up. Inhaling up. And the arm gently floats down. Inhaling the arm up. And the arm gently flows down. Inhaling the arm up. And the arm gently flows down. And last one, both sides. Inhaling the arm up. And it gently flows down. Inhaling arm up. And it gently flows down.
My cat's decided to join us.
Oh, pardon me?
I said my cat has decided to join us.
That's fine. I think she would love to do forward folds. So again, if we can all sit up in Tadasana so that your shoulders are rolled back, your chest is open, and we're always returning to this pose because we want our chest open. We want to be able to breathe as much as possible and breathe freely. So I'm just going to demonstrate a forward fold. And because of where this, my screen is, when I do the forward fold, I literally will disappear down. But I just want to see, or rather I want you to see how my arms are sweeping up over my head as I inhale, and then they sweep down as I bend forward, or rather extend from the hip flexors. So the hip flexors, and the reason why we extend from the hip flexors is we are not meant to bend from the stomach. And for those people with hydrocephalus as well, and if they have a shunt that is draining into the stomach and they have quite a bit of tubing that is sitting in the stomach, you don't want to injure that tubing. So, and for anyone with or without a shunt, the stomach is not meant to bend from. We are meant to bend and extend from our hip flexors, which are just below our hip bone. So that area between your hip and your leg. So I'm just going to show you. So as I inhale, I sweep my arms up. And I extend forward. And I touch the ground. And then I inhale back up. And exhale back to heart center. How does that look to everybody? Shauna? Andrea? Good? So can we do 4 of those? So starting, many poses start with our hands at heart center. So it's where our actual heart is. And we inhale arms up, almost like angel wings. So they come up to the side very gracefully. And extend the arms down as we extend forward. And then we bring our arms back up, inhaling. And exhale to heart center. So we'll just do 3 of those at your own pace, remembering to always move with your breath. And I just have one last one. I could be moving a lot slower than some people, but that's the beauty of this. We move at our own pace and we move at our own breath rate. Wonderful. Now, forward folds are very important, but I just want to mention two things about forward folds. Forward folds are very, very nurturing. So they are very relaxing. And it's almost like we're folding into ourselves and we're gaining insight into ourselves. So forward folds are great for relaxation, reducing anxiety, depression. However, if you are experiencing trauma, you also have to bear in mind that sometimes going down and essentially hiding your eyes can be a traumatic sensation for people. So if you're not comfortable putting your head completely down, that's fine. You can extend forward to your level of comfort and just come back up again. So you're still getting that extension and still nourishing your body. Okay, now I wanted to do one last thing one last asana called the breath of joy. I am a yoga teacher and I'm also a laughter yoga teacher. Laughter to me is a very blissful experience, and I think it's very necessary, especially in this post-COVID world. We need to laugh. So there is an asana called the breath of joy, and I'll just illustrate it for you. It's actually a breathing exercise rather. It improves clarity, improves lung capacity, and makes you feel good. So I'll demonstrate it now. So we bring our arms up, inhaling. We inhale wide. We inhale up and laugh it down. or smile. Like it makes you feel good because again, you're breathing in 3 breaths. So you're giving your body that extra nourishment, that extra oxygen. And then when we release our breath, instead of just releasing it in a whoosh, we're laughing it out. So we'll do it 2 more times and at your own pace. Wonderful. Now, this is one of my most favorite asanas. And the reason why it is because it brings in a lot more oxygen. It actually, it works on all different aspects of breathing. When you're breathing, you're not just using one lobe of your lungs, you're actually using all lobes. So those various positions actually work all lobes of your lung. So when we're doing that position, we're working a part of our lung. When we're doing this, you can really feel the movement in your lungs. And likewise, when we do this, I believe we're working our lower lungs. So in doing that asana, you are getting a full lung workout, which is amazing. So we've done those various asanas in the chair. And we've done, a pretty good range of asanas: eye, yoga, shoulders, arm work, side stretches, extension, forward folds, which are nourishing. And a lot of those asanas reduce anxiety, reduce depression. They help reduce any anger and any negative feelings, and they increase our breath. So my question to everybody in the audience is, how would chair yoga benefit you? So I hope I haven't gone over too much. I just want to give a brief summary, takeaways, and moving forward. Today's event has been an introduction. It's also been put on to give people an opportunity to learn a bit about yoga, to find out whether this is something that you maybe want to pursue at a later date, and take extra classes through Hydrocephalus Canada. So this has been more or less like a town hall meeting. We've done this to raise your awareness, give you a little peek inside. What is yoga? What is mindfulness? Do I want to practice any of this? So I leave it to you to decide, how can chair yoga benefit you? So breath and body awareness, mindfulness acts as an anchor, grounding and calming us, leading to greater clarity, understanding, and even compassion to ourselves and others. Would this help you? Gentle yoga is a very helpful practice that bridges breath and body awareness, mindfulness, and asana work. These movements improve flexibility, awareness of body and mind and emotions, and can also help to calm and soothe. Would this help you? Chair yoga is done in a chair and can incorporate all asanas that are done while standing, with, of course, some modification. And it offers the added benefits of stability, which I know for me is a huge plus. And it allows me to do postures such as warrior, where you're sometimes on one leg and you're balancing. And I, from my own experience as someone with hydrocephalus, I've worked on my balance for many, many years, actually decades. And it will never reach the balance that other people have. So being able to do these postures or asanas and benefit from these postures while in a chair is absolutely wonderful. So how would this help and inspire you and allow you to grow? And lastly, mindfulness and trauma-centered yoga, where we take into consideration that some of the people doing the yoga might be experiencing some post-traumatic stress, some anxiety. Having trauma-centered yoga can be very transformative. It can actually transform the anxiety of someone going through post-traumatic stress, and it can transform their level of comfort with themselves. So trauma-sensitive yoga recognizes everything that a person has been through and chooses exercises and movements that are safe, caring, and adaptable to your changing needs. How can this approach empower you today? And again, I'm sorry if I went too long. I'm just going to move up a little bit.
We are a little bit over. We do have a couple of questions. Maybe we'll answer one or two, and then the rest we'll do afterwards. And
Yes. And I think
we can email them to the individual that was asking the question.
Yeah, and I think we've even covered some of them.
Like, yes, I think we have.
Yes, I mean, we've talked about wheelchair yoga and the fact that you can essentially do any asana, but some asanas might have to be modified a little bit more. So you can do warrior one, you can do warrior two, you can do the dynamic poses. You can do a locust pose by extending forward and moving your shoulders back. You can do, well, any pose.
Okay.
Quite honestly, you can. There are so many different poses, and we'd be here another hour if I went through them all and the modifications.
So one question that I think would be good to answer is, can this type of yoga reduce muscle tendon pain?
Absolutely. When I began doing yoga at 12, I was only given 2 asanas to do. My family doctor told me to do Tadasana because I was, as a teenager, or where I'm sitting up straight. It's a very powerful and engaging pose without being too active. So essentially, you're sitting up straight, your shoulders are rolled back, your chest is open, and even your palms are open. And you are feeling the energy. And that pose is good for opening your heart. So if you're dealing with anger issues, you want to do this Tadasana mountain pose every day. You want to open up that heart. If you're dealing with self-esteem issues, it will help you to open up your heart and improve your posture. And if you're in a chair all day, and if you're actually, like a lot of us, if you're hunched over a computer screen, whether you're in a wheelchair or just sitting in any chair, if you're hunched, doing a Tadasana for, being in it 5 minutes out of the hour that you're on your computer screen will help to reset the spine and also reduce the amount of pressure that you put on your lower back.
Okay, and one last question and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Will these exercises increase my headaches?
That is an excellent question. There's an asana called downward dog, where you literally, you're for people who are able, and even for people in wheelchairs, they can sometimes do a downward dog and put their head down. If you are dealing with hydrocephalus, where your cerebral spinal fluid can possibly travel in the wrong direction, or if you're someone with balance or vestibular hearing ear issues, you don't want to put your head below your heart as a rule. So if you're dealing with cerebral spinal fluid issues, so that spina bifida hydrocephalus, if you're dealing with hypertension, if you're dealing with extreme anxiety, you do not want to put your head below your heart. So there are adaptions. If you want to do a downward dog at a wall and get the same benefit, I'll just move to the side here and explain it. There is a wall in front of me. So literally, my hands are against the wall right now.
Okay.
And I just, keeping my back straight, I essentially push back from the wall, but keep my hands on the wall. So you can adapt a downward dog in that way. Downward dogs essentially work your stomach and they extend your arms. You can do arm extensions in so many different ways that do not give you headaches.
Excellent. Well, thank you again so much. This was such an interesting topic tonight, and the demonstrations were wonderful. I have a new appreciation for breathing and mindfulness, and I think I understand yoga a little bit more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And again, if there's one thing that I can say about this event, thank you. It's been a wonderful opportunity to share some experience with essentially my population, people who are dealing with a lot of the health issues that I am. So I'm very appreciative in that sense. And I truly believe that yoga can be done by anyone. It's just that some people need more modifications. And yoga is supposed to release, relax, and nurture you. And the only way you're going to be nurtured in that way is if you take precautions, monitor yourself, and know your abilities and limitations. We all have good days, we all have bad days. It's important to know how you're feeling and how your body is working on that day.
Very well said. All right. Thank you so much. And have a good night, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.